Tomorrow we are starting our National Policy Conference here in Nazareth. This is in line with the provisions of the Constitution. It is quite important to clarify that because we must appreciate that by Constitution of the ANC we are required to hold a policy conference at least 6 months before the National Conference of the ANC. In that policy conference, 90% should be delegates from the branches in all the provinces of the ANC. We must remember that as we gather here tomorrow, this conference begins on the backdrop of State job numbers for the quarter ended June 2017. We are in a technical recession following the two consecutive quarters of negative growth in the economy, that is the GDP growth. The economic downgrades by 3 rating agencies, at least one has not put us on the non-investment level, but are still above that. Therefore, officially, because that is Moody's, the junk status is qualified. As you will recall that even with S&P, it is on the international investment, but on local currency, we are not downgraded to junk status. The results of the local government elections in 2016 are still looming large in our analysis. And coincidentally, the matters of economic growth, accelerated radical socio-economic transformation, land reform and redistribution, funding of higher education, fighting crime and corruption. Very important there is the question of femicide, as well as building the capacity of the state. Those have been identified as our priorities, and I'm sure they will be quite prominent in the discussion of the policy conference. They come out of the discussion we have been having since we released the policy documents in March. We would also like to congratulate the ANC in the West Rand for regaining the control of Mogale City, and congratulate the new mayor, Mr. Patrick Lupudi, who has been elected to the position of a mayor. Now the work of serving the people must begin in earnest, and we have confidence that the council will now work in unison and respond to the needs of our people. Now Mogale City officially is run by the ANC, the mayor, the speaker, the chief of all ANC. The ANC also set the ball rolling towards the National Policy Conference by launching the discussion documents in March. I want to thank you for attending the briefings that were almost every Sunday since the launch of the papers. By now, you have sufficient information to interrogate those documents. And those policy documents will inform the discussions in the ANC Policy Conference and come out of the resolution of the 5th National Conference as it begins tomorrow, ending on the 5th of July. The Policy Conference will be in the main discussing the policy document. The primary objective of the ANC releasing its policy documents was to enable members of the ANC at all levels of the organization to review the implementation of ANC policies adopted in the 53rd National Conference, to assess their adequacy and to propose areas for policy review and new policies towards the 54th National Conference, which will be in December 2017. It is only the National Conference of the ANC that adopts policies. We emphasize that because after the policy conference, we'll adopt recommendations that go to the National Conference for the National Conference to affirm them as policies of the African National Congress. So that principle I'm emphasizing because half the time when we interact with rating agencies, they always raise this point, whether you'll change policies or not. And we always emphasize that the ANC doesn't change policy midstream. And number two, the election of leadership doesn't determine the policy. We're not having a system of every individual developing and implementing his or her individual policy. They are all elected to implement ANC policies. After the document was released, intense program of discussion among ANC structures at all levels began, and branches called meetings and discussed the position on the proposal. Others submitted branch proposal to be factored in the discussion. The province consolidated branch proposal to in their provincial general councils. Those are consolidated, they are coming. The ANC has observed a wide range of discussion, divergent views, and intense debate on its policy proposal across the country. And by Thursday, the last day of the conference, the organization and the nation will emerge from the process with a united common vision of our country's developmental trajectory. At the same time, the ANC invited in engagement from all sectors of society, organized business, NGOs, academia, and most importantly, individuals. We thank all of them very much for their submissions and their contribution. All these have been received by the ANC and will form part of the rich content for discussion. The first 2 days of the conference are informed by the ANC NEC resolution to continue with an intensified program of engagement with various sectors of society and structures of the ANC. To this end, the ANC delegates will engage with faith-based organizations, veterans and stalwarts of our movement, organized business, NGOs, academia. With the gathering of all ANC branches in the country, this becomes a great moment for the ANC, for an organization of branches to reflect on its health and NTR, whether it is on course and, more importantly, an opportunity to self-correct. So we keep those 2 days. Though the National Consultative Conference nature of them has changed to be now part of the National Policy Conference with the ANC itself, doing a diagnosis, analyzing the health of the organization, and seek to get solutions to problems. This is also an opportunity for the organization to truly caution itself that the biggest danger to the unity of the ANC is engaging each other through the lens of the upcoming 54th National Conference. And because we're disagreeing on who to nominate, therefore that becomes the basis for engagement. And where everyone is suspicious of one another. At this conference, we'll remind ourselves and reaffirm our commitment to the content of the National Democratic Revolution. The strategic goal of the NTR is the resolution of the 3 basic interrelated contradictions of race, gender, and class. We're taking ourselves back there because once you get there, you minimize disagreements. You begin to have a straightforward approach to even radical economic transformation. You begin to understand that nothing will be radical if it doesn't intend to resolve those 3 contradictions in society. The discussion of the first 2 days will be underpinned by the appreciation that 2017 marks the centenary since the birth of Comrade Oliver Tambo, and who was a turn of unity, and the ANC longest serving president. This conference provides the opportunity for the ANC to self-correct, will emerge out of this conference stronger and more united. We are committed. Thank you very much.